Hi everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, ce sera un podcast en anglais. Welcome to S.O.S. Business. Today, the subject I want to cover is when you have a business, you're a small and medium business, you're growing, sometimes you need an expert like a COO or a CFO or a CTO, and you don't have really the resources to pay a full-time person. In average in Canada, I think it's in 2025 November, there's a statistic I got that the average salary for a COO in Canada is 185K. So it's a lot of money. But there are some VPs that can work for you part-time. And today I want to talk about this with Robert Mendelson. So hi, Robert. Thank you so much for coming with us today.
Merci Sonia. Bonjour. It's great to be here.
So Richard, you created a group that's really fantastic. It's called Fractional Pro Canada. Am I right?
Fractional Pros Canada. Yes, indeed. This is a community that I started actually literally back on January 1 of this year. I've been practicing as a fractional CMO for the last few years, and I was looking around online. I'm like, where is the home for Canada's executive fractional community? And I couldn't find one. So
Mm.
the entrepreneur in me said, I guess I'll start one. So I started a group on Facebook, a community on Facebook, which I don't really love Facebook, but for its community platform, it's still the best one that I've seen out there. So that's why it's on Facebook. I get that question sometimes. And we're now over 1,000. In fact, we're probably over about 1,200 fractionals across Canada. And, as you were saying, the fractional option is a great option for businesses who are either scaling and don't currently have any senior strategic leadership in the C-suite from, in my case, marketing. It could be operations, finances. In some cases, there are companies who have fractional CEOs working
Mm.
as well. And then there's also the other side of it with a lot of what's going on in the economy, the uncertainty. We've seen a lot of businesses actually cut people in the C-suite just because, like you were mentioning, the salaries are so high, and they just needed to. A lot of companies have been in reserve the gunpowder, right, mode, and if they feel that C-suite executive is not worth all the money that they're getting, they've actually, unfortunately, let them go. And there's actually a lot of those executives who've been in the corporate world for some, in some cases decades, are now repositioning themselves as fractionals, so that COO, for example, who's been let go because of the high salary, now they're working as a fractional COO, offering their services on a fractional basis, a part-time basis, delivering pretty close to the same amount of value that they were before when they were full-time, still sitting in on the C-suite meetings, still giving strategic, high-level, guidance to the company, to the C-suite, setting the strategy, not doing the execution, but overseeing it. And that's a solution that is more and more viable and becoming more and more popular for Canadian businesses and really businesses globally right now.
It's a service that a lot of businesses don't know about that it exists. So that's why I wanted to do that podcast because, as you said, it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to really get high quality people working for them a few hours a week, but that they will receive so much from them and it will help them scale their business. And also, those fractional CXO, so COO, CEO, CTO, CMO, um, those people will prepare the future role in your business, and they can even help you hire the full-time person that will replace them at one point. Am I right?
That's right. In fact, being a fractional is a kind of a strange business to be in, because the goal of a fractional executive, when we start with a client, our goal actually is to ultimately hire our full-time replacement. So we're trying to put ourselves out of a job by being hired for the job to be done. But that is really the mark of success of a fractional executive that's hired, is to be able to lead the company and help the company scale to a point where it makes sense for them to hire, in my case, a full-time CMO and replace me as a fractional CMO. And typically we see that can happen in about 2 years. So that's been my experience with engagements that go around 2 years. At that point, typically, if things have gone right, then the company is now in a place where it just makes sense for them to hire a full-time CMO. It's justified for the money. It's justified for the amount of attention that they need a full-time person in that role.
And in your Fractional Pro Canada, your group, you said you're about 1,000 members right now?
Yeah, a little over 1,000, probably around 1,200 members right now from right across Canada. Yeah.
So in your group, you have people from across Canada, but do you have people that are French speaking for Quebec?
Absolument. We have quite a few who are in the Greater Montreal area. On aussi des fractionnels, and I'm not sure what the right term is in French. I've been struggling with this. Maybe you can help me out. But we do have
fractionnaire, c'est le bon mot, mais je crois que à temps partiel est mieux de dire un expert à temps partiel, oui.
Bon, so experts en temps partiel, on en a plusieurs à Québec, aux alentours de Québec aussi, and we even have a few outside of the two main cities of Quebec and other parts of the province. There's some in New Brunswick as well who I know speak French as well. And in Western Canada also, there are some, il y en a des Québécois aussi. So there's definitely a French-speaking option for fractionals, and they can be found within the Fractional Pros Canada community.
So since we're doing this podcast today, to show people there are this solution, is there a way like if I'm an entrepreneur and I want to find a CMO or a CEO or an integrator or a general manager, how can they reach your community? Is there something in place?
It's an excellent question. And it's funny, 2025 has really been all about building the community, and feeling very good that we're well on our way with that, with over 1,000 members. 2026 is about building conversations for the community, and that's where companies, entrepreneurs, business owners, founders come into play. And so we are in the midst of rolling out the fractionalproscanada.ca website, and on that site will be a directory of members who have been vetted, that they are experienced, trustworthy and smart fractionals who can help a business. So that would be the place that any business owner could come and look for people in the community who are available to help them, or just come and ask questions, find out more about what a fractional is. And the other way is, feel free to reach out to me, Robert Mendelson, on LinkedIn. Hit me up. I'm always happy to answer questions. Whether it's for a fractional who wants to understand more about what the fractional life looks like, or for a business who wants to understand more about how a fractional could possibly help their business grow.
Okay, so in the description of our podcast, I will put your LinkedIn link and the community and the website link as well. And I'm part of that group as well, because we offer the COO part-time or EOS fractional integrator. It's a great community, and I'm really happy that you created that community for us Canadian. And there's a lot of French speaking also, and most of the time when we're part-time at as a I will say XO, whichever role you're taking, you can do that remotely most of the time. Do you want to comment on that, Robert?
Yeah, absolutely. Most fractional engagements are remote, virtual. In my case, what I do is, in the first 30 to 60 days, once I finish doing an audit and a discovery, I do what's called a strategy session day. And that is the only time where we want to do it in person, with typically the C-suite. And so I will go on site for the day and we'll go through that and kind of plan out what's the vision and how we're going to get there over the next 2 years, break that down into 90-day sprints and go from there. But other than that, working virtually works really well. It means the fractional is very, very flexible to go according to the schedule of the client. They don't have to travel. There's no traffic to deal with. So it makes it a really great option. And, with the Zoom technologies, et cetera, of today, Teams, it's super easy to do.
It's almost the end of our podcast. So, Robert, what do entrepreneurs have to keep in mind after watching our video today?
I would say entrepreneurs should just keep in mind that there is another option out there. If you're an entrepreneur and what's keeping you up at night is, I need to build my team, I need more high-level strategy, but I don't have the budget to hire a full-time CMO or a full-time CFO or a full-time COO, et cetera, there is a fractional option that you should be looking at because you can get that high-level strategic growth that you need to grow your business on a fractional, on a part-time basis. And that's what Fractional Pros Canada and all of our members in our community are all about. That's what we do. That's what we offer. That's how we can help you.
And one other thing is that I think you should remember is that fractionals are there to prepare with you the onboarding of your future full-time. So we're there to make sure we're getting out. That's one thing. And also, you're stressed, tired, overwhelmed. It's a lot managing the future of your business, and you're within the business as well. Fractionals are really there to help you.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. When you bring in a fractional, you have somebody who's not getting sucked into that whirlwind of the daily goings on in a business. And it's much easier for a fractional to work on the business than in the business. And they bring a set of fresh eyes. And also, one of the advantages of them not being in the office is they don't get mixed up with a lot of, daily politics and stuff that is just inherent in any business. So it's another reason why fractionals can actually provide a lot more value. And like I said earlier, pretty much very, very close to the amount of strategy and value you would get from having a full-time person in that role, but on a fractional basis. Again, one of the reasons being because we're removed from that day-to-day. We're focused on doing what is important to grow the company and what we've agreed upon as a scope of work and a strategy and a vision. And there's very little to distract us from that, unlike anybody who's working in the business on a full-time basis.
Thank you so much, Robert, for being with me today in my podcast. I appreciate it a lot.
Merci, Sonia. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I always love the chance to spread the word and maybe let people know about what a fractional is, that the fractional option exists. So I think this is really important for the business community of Canada, especially. We're a little bit behind the curve from our neighbors down south as far as using fractionals and knowing about the fractional option. So I hope we've helped to move the needle forward on that one today.
Thank you everyone for being with me today. Merci à tout le monde d'avoir écouté le podcast aujourd'hui. Je vous donne rendez-vous dans 2 semaines pour un autre sujet qui touche les entrepreneurs et les entreprises, un enjeu actuel.